My name is Lena Carter. I'm 29, and I was standing there in a simple A-line dress, hand over hand with my fiancé Ethan, cutting into a cloud of buttercream while everyone cheered. The room sounded like silverware in summer, except inside my chest, it was empty. Not a single person from my family was in that room. Not my mom, not my dad, not even my little sister who loves a spotlight more than oxygen. As the knife slid through the cake, my phone buzzed in the hidden pocket. Screen lit. A text from Mom. We need to talk. Now. Under it, 37 missed calls. My stomach just dropped. Before we really get into it, tell me where you're watching from and be honest. Have you ever been hurt by the people who were supposed to be your safe place? Because when it's your own blood, it cuts different. All right. If you want the truth about why my family skipped my wedding, I have to take you back to where the pattern started. Back to a town in Indiana where Friday night lights were bright enough to hide a lot of shadows. I grew up in Fairland, the kind of place where your mailman knows which porch swing squeaks. My dad, Paul, teaches shop class and smells like sawdust and coffee. My mom, Denise, proofreads church bulletins as if heaven has a style guide. My sister, Brooke, came 3 years after me with bottle rocket lashes and the kind of smile that turns teachers into talent scouts. If there was a recital, she was center. If there was a camera, I was the one holding it. You don't notice emotional neglect when you're little. You just learn how to be useful. I became excellent at standing to the side without looking like I'd been pushed there. My first clear memory of the hierarchy? I won the county science fair with a project about water filtration. Mom snapped one picture and reminded me not to wrinkle my skirt before Brooke's jazz routine. Later that week, Dad took us out for shrimp baskets because Brooke placed third in a dance thing none of us could explain. I ate coleslaw and told myself we were celebrating family success. Eldest daughter mental gymnastics should qualify as a sport. Fast forward to Austin, where I learned to measure things that matter. Blood pressure, trial outcomes, whether a patient smiles when the side effects ease. I coordinate clinical research, which means I make spreadsheets that keep people alive. It's not glamorous, but it is holy in a small way. That's where I learned the difference between silence and stability, and that's also where I met Ethan. We were standing in a bakery line, both pretending we didn't want the last Queen man. He split it without asking who deserved it more. I didn't know men like that existed outside novels and decent sitcoms. He proposed on the Lamar pedestrian bridge while a busker played a slightly off-key Moon River. I cried the messy kind of cry. No cathedral veil, no soft filters, just joy with wind in it. The plan was a hill country wedding, small and honest, pecan trees older than anyone's grudges, 70 seats we actually needed. Ethan's parents, the Kims, booked their flights the same day our invites went out. Mom texted, "We'll check the calendar." Dad added a thumbs up, his favorite way to keep a conversation short. I mailed their envelopes with vintage stamps that made the paper feel like a hug you can keep. The USPS did its job. My parents kept checking their calendar like it was a crystal ball that refused to say yes. I called one night while stirring a pot of tomato soup because big talks are easier if you're multitasking. "Hey, did you get the invitation?" I asked, trying to sound casual, like I wasn't counting chairs in my head. Mom said, "We did, honey," with the voice she uses when she's walking past a problem she can't bend. "Brooke's season is about to get busy," she added, like that explained gravity. Dad took the phone and told me he was proud, then gently suggested we keep it low stress. Whoa, when parents say low stress, they often mean low expectations. I wiped my spoon on the rim and practiced sounding fine. "Of course. No pressure," I said, while pressure sang through the kitchen like a kettle. Here's the thing nobody tells you about being the underdog inside your own family. You become fluent in reading rooms and rationing hope. I kept a spreadsheet for RSVPs and a separate one for feelings I wasn't supposed to have. Box for logistics, box for grief. I set aside 4 chairs in the front row, Carter family, and stared at the cells like maybe my name would be enough to fill them. The venue emailed asking for final numbers. I typed pending and pretended it was a plan. I wanted to believe the story I'd rehearsed since middle school, that if I stayed grateful and uncomplaining, the grown-ups would eventually see me. People love a patient girl, but patience is not the same thing as permission to keep hurting you. That realization didn't arrive as thunder. It came in as a whisper while I was labeling place cards, my own handwriting looking back at me like proof I belonged here. Ethan reached over, tapped my wrist, and said, "Whatever happens with them, we're still us." It should have made the ache smaller. What it did instead was tell me exactly where to place it. And if you're picturing the scene, keep it close. Austin dusk outside our apartment window, the city going lavender, me hunched over a stack of envelopes with a pen that scratches like a cricket. My phone face down because I'm tired of trying to coax love out of gray bubbles. Somewhere in Indiana, a coach whistle blew. Brooke probably posted a rehearsal selfie, and my parents probably said, "We'll see," to a question that needed, "We will." I pressed 4 tiny gold stickers on 4 front row place cards, Mom, Dad, Brooke, guest, and told myself the truth for once. If those seats stayed empty, the aisle would still be long enough for me to walk. 2 weeks before the wedding, I opened Instagram during lunch and froze. Brooke's hand filled the screen, nails painted a glossy white, showing off a diamond ring that looked like it had swallowed the sun. The caption, "He asked," I said forever, "engagement party, save the date." And that date? It was my wedding day, the exact same Saturday. Same hours, same weekend I'd been planning for months. At first, I thought it had to be some mistake. I stared until my salad wilted. My pulse beat so hard I could hear it in my teeth. I called her, straight to voicemail. A minute later, a text came through like a slap. "It's just a small thing, Lena, local friends. You'll be busy anyway. Win-win." Win-win. That phrase stuck in my throat like a dry pill. That night, I called my mom, desperate for a flicker of outrage on my behalf. Instead, she said in that low, rehearsed tone, "Honey, this was the only weekend that worked for Brooke's vendors. You understand? She has such momentum right now." Momentum. As if my marriage was a traffic cone in her lane. I tried my dad next. He sighed and muttered, "We'll try to be at both, kiddo. Don't make us the bad guys here." His voice sounded far away, like he was already at the party stringing lights. The next day, I went to my final dress fitting, hoping the lace and fabric would at least remind me what all this was supposed to be about. The seamstress pinned the hem, smiled, and said I looked elegant, timeless. For 5 whole minutes, I felt like a bride. Then Brooke walked in. No warning, no invitation. She breezed through the boutique door with 2 of her friends trailing, phones out, live streaming. She panned her camera right across my dress and said brightly, "It's cute, very librarian." Her friends giggled. The chat blew up with emojis. My cheeks burned, but I stood still while the seamstress's pins bit into my skin. Eldest daughters know how to look like statues when what they really want is to scream. That evening, my maid of honor, Jenna, sent me a voice note. She sounded casual, like we were discussing happy hour plans. "Girl, don't spiral. I'm with you." But Brooke just DM'd me asking if I'd swing by her party for a minute. You know, show face. I'd still make it to your ceremony, do the speeches and all. You cool with that? I stared at the waveform on my phone screen, at the squiggly line of betrayal disguised as logistics. I typed, deleted, typed again. Finally sent, "Do what you need." 4 words that tasted like pennies. By midweek, my parents scheduled a family Zoom. I logged in, hope clinging like lint. The background behind them? Brooke's mood board. White balloons, neon sign glowing, "She said forever." Mom cleared her throat. "We hate to do this, but your father and I should probably be with Brooke on her big day. Engagements only happen once, Lena." I laughed. Not the happy kind, the brittle kind that slices your gums. "Weddings only happen once too, Mom." Dad looked anywhere but the camera. "We'll try to swing by your reception," he offered, like I was a Costco sample on their errand list. When the call ended, my laptop screen went black, and for a long second, I just stared at my reflection. I didn't look devastated. I looked resolved, like something in me had finally stopped begging to be picked. Later that night, Ethan found me hunched over our coffee table, envelopes scattered, my hands shaking. He crouched down, caught my chin. "Say it out loud," he whispered. And I did. "They're not coming." The words were jagged, but once they left my mouth, a strange calm slipped in. Because maybe, for once, I didn't have to swallow the unfairness whole. Maybe I could spit it out, let it sting the air instead of my chest. Still, the ache lingered. Every wedding movie, every magazine photo shows parents straightening veils, sisters fastening zippers, family crying proud tears. I had none of that. Just 4 gold place cards sitting in a box, names written in my handwriting, waiting for people who had already RSVP'd with silence. And here's the cruelest part. I still wanted them there. Even knowing the pattern, even knowing the favoritism, some child inside me still believed, hoped, they'd surprise me, walk in last minute, prove me wrong. But deep down, I knew better. This wasn't just a scheduling conflict. This was the culmination of years of being invisible unless I was useful. This was the hierarchy of love in my family, carved in stone. And stone doesn't bend, it only cracks. After that Zoom call, something in me snapped, but not the way people expect. I didn't scream. I didn't throw a vase. I sat there on the couch with Ethan's arm around me and felt empty. Like I'd run out of ways to bargain for love. And then, somewhere in that emptiness, a new voice rose up. It didn't sound like a child begging. It sounded like an adult drawing a line. I whispered it first to myself. No more begging. No more crumbs. If they want to starve me of love, I won't starve myself of dignity. The next morning, I opened my vow journal, the one with coffee stains and ink smudges from months of planning, and I added a page just for me. It wasn't a vow to Ethan. It was to myself. I will not light myself on fire to keep anyone else warm. Not again. Not ever. That's when I knew. This wasn't just about surviving the wedding without my family. It was about finally refusing to play the role they had written for me. At work, I couldn't hide it. I was running reports, but my hands were shaky and the monitor blurred. That's when Ava Torres, our regulatory specialist, poked her head over the cubicle wall. She's the kind of woman who wears red lipstick to compliance meetings and wins. "You look like you're about to cross-examine your keyboard," she said. I laughed weakly and told her everything. About the engagement party, the canceled RSVPs, Brooke's live stream librarian jab. Ava's eyes narrowed, not with pity, but calculation. "Sounds like sabotage," she said. "If your family didn't RSVP but swear they got invites, that's interference. Start with artifacts." "Artifacts?" I asked. "Digital crumbs," she explained. "Emails, timestamps, logs. People always leave fingerprints." That night, she came over to my apartment with Thai takeout and her laptop. We pulled up my wedding website back end. Sure enough, in the RSVP history, several declines had been logged within minutes of invitations being sent to Carter emails. Only problem? None of those declines matched my mom's or dad's IP addresses. One alias kept popping up, Brooke Events iCloud. It wasn't even subtle. Ava whistled low. There's your saboteur. My stomach churned. Brooke hadn't just stolen my spotlight. She had rewritten my script. She'd engineered the silence I'd been torturing myself with. I screenshot everything, saved backups on 3 drives, even printed hard copies. Ava leaned back, chopsticks dangling. You don't drop this bomb now. Protect your day first. Afterward, if the truth wants oxygen, trust me, it'll find a match. Her words stuck. For the first time in weeks, I felt like maybe the universe had handed me an ally. Meanwhile, Jenna, the maid of honor I was starting to doubt, went strangely quiet. She posted boomerangs of champagne walls with captions like, Brooke's pre-party errands. I asked her directly about rehearsal plans. She replied with emojis, confetti, hearts, and then nothing. No times, no details. Silence wrapped in glitter. I should have called her out. Instead, I wrote her name on a sticky note and stuck it in the unknown column of my mental spreadsheet. Because right now, my energy wasn't for saving friendships that didn't want to be saved. That same week, my mom called again. Her voice was brisk, like she was asking about dry cleaning. Honey, please don't be dramatic about Saturday. We'll do our best to attend both events. Be mature, okay? I wanted to laugh or cry. Instead, I said calmly, Mature is showing up for your kid's wedding. She went quiet, then sighed. We can't be the bad guys for both daughters. Translation. They'd already decided who deserved the sacrifice. After I hung up, Ethan found me sitting cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by envelopes and checklists. He placed a mug of tea beside me and slid a new SIM card across the table. Ava thought you might need a backup number, he said softly. I picked it up, staring at him. You two are conspiring? Conspiring to protect you, he said. That's the only conspiracy I'll ever sign up for. For the first time in days, I laughed for real. That night, I updated my vows again. I added a single line. I will not measure my worth by who fails to show up. I will measure it by who stands anyway. I thought about my parents, about how easy it had been for them to swallow Brooke's story, about how many years I'd been auditioning for their approval like it was Broadway. And then I thought about the people who had already chosen me. Ethan, the Kims, Ava. People who didn't need proof or spotlight to care. Here's the truth. No one tells you. Family is not always blood. Sometimes, family is who shows up when the sabotage hits your inbox. Sometimes it's the coworker with red lipstick and spicy pad thai. Sometimes it's the man who splits the last pastry without asking. I went to bed that night with my evidence folder zipped tight, a binder of vendor confirmations Ava had insisted I print, and a vow scribbled in ink that finally sounded like mine. For the first time since the invitations went out, I wasn't hoping my family would prove me wrong. I was preparing for them to prove me right, and that preparation, it was the first step of my revenge. Not the loud kind, not the movie kind, the quiet revenge of refusing to collapse. Because if they thought I'd fold under the weight of being unwanted, they didn't know me at all. The week of the wedding should have been filled with final touches, flowers, playlists, a little nervous laughter. Instead, it felt like a slow-motion landslide. 2 days before the ceremony, I got a voicemail from the florist. Her voice was careful, like she was delivering bad medical news. Hi, Lena. We just wanted to confirm that we received your cancellation request for Saturday's order. If that's not correct, please give us a call." Cancellation? My heart thudded. I grabbed the binder Ava had made me, the one with every contract printed and tabbed. Page 3. Florist. Paid in full. Signed. I dialed back, reading the details word for word until the florist apologized, clearly rattled. The call came from a woman who said she was you. Same name, same details. We should have verified. It wasn't the flowers, it was the pattern. Someone out there wanted to dismantle my day piece by piece. Then came the venue. The manager called saying, "We're confirming your postponement to next month. Is that correct?" My voice cracked. Absolutely not. Ethan took the phone, calm as ever. "Please check the signed agreement in your inbox," he said, firm but steady. I hung up and stared at him. "How many more fires can we put out before Saturday?" He pulled me close. "As many as it takes." But the hardest fire wasn't from strangers. It was from the person I trusted to stand next to me in chiffon. Jenna texted me on rehearsal morning, "Something came up, running late, don't hate me." My gut twisted. Half an hour passed. Then an hour. No Jenna. I opened Instagram out of masochism, and there she was. A boomerang of champagne glasses clinking. Caption, "Pre-party errands. Team Brooke." I felt my throat close. My maid of honor was pre-partying for Brooke. When rehearsal time came, the venue's tall windows filled with golden light. Ethan's side of the aisle filled with his laughing cousins, aunts, uncles. My side? Empty chairs, name cards perfectly placed, waiting like open wounds. The coordinator cleared her throat gently. "Should we wait a bit longer for your family?" I swallowed hard. They might be running late. The lie tasted like tin. We started without them. Our efficient, a college friend, tried to lighten the mood with jokes, and Ethan's 12-year-old cousin took his ring-bearer role as seriously as a Supreme Court justice. Everyone laughed at his exaggerated bow. For a moment, it almost felt like joy. But then my eyes caught on the front row. 4 chairs labeled Mom, Dad, Brooke, Guest. Their absence screamed louder than any organ. When the rehearsal ended, I stood by the exit, pretending to check my phone, praying for a message, a miracle. The only thing that lit up my screen was a text from Mom. "Busy with Brooke's setup. Good luck tonight. Love you." Love you. The kind of love that skips rehearsals. We headed to the rehearsal dinner, held at a cozy Italian place a few blocks from the venue. Ethan's parents had rented a private room, filled it with candles and white roses. Place cards waited at the long table, including 4 for my family. As the appetizers came, those cards sat untouched, glaring gaps in the circle. I excused myself to the restroom, leaned over the sink, and took slow breaths, forcing back tears. I wasn't going to ruin this dinner with sobs. When I came back, something small but monumental had shifted. Mrs. Kim had quietly removed the empty cards and rearranged the seats. She caught my eye, gave me a wink. The gaps were gone. The table looked whole again. I sat down, blinking back tears that now carried gratitude instead of shame. Over dessert, Mr. Kim raised his glass. To Lena and Ethan, may your life together be sturdy enough to weather storms and sweet enough to celebrate under sunlight. His words landed heavy. I realized he wasn't just toasting. He was stepping into a space someone else had abandoned. That night at the hotel, Ethan walked me to my door, kissed my forehead. "Tomorrow you'll be my wife," he whispered. "No matter who shows or doesn't show, that part is ours." I watched him leave for his best man suite, tradition keeping us apart for one more night. Alone in the room, I dialed my dad's number, a final, foolish attempt. He answered, distracted. "Hey, kiddo." "Dad," I said softly, "are you still planning to walk me down the aisle tomorrow?" A pause, a sigh. "Your mom needs me here. There's just so much to do for Brooke's party. You know how important this is for her." I bit back the sob clawing my throat. "More important than your oldest daughter's wedding?" "That's not fair," he said stiff. "We didn't realize the dates would conflict." "There is no conflict, Dad. You chose." My voice cracked. He was quiet a long moment. Then, "I hope you have a nice wedding." Click. The call ended. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wallpaper. The silence was deafening. But then my phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't them. It was Ava. "Binder is triple checked. Vendors are locked. Don't let them steal your joy. P.S. Eat cake for breakfast tomorrow. You'll need the sugar armor." I smiled through the tears. Maybe blood had betrayed me. But chosen family? They were showing up in spades. That night, I slid my phone under a stack of programs, closed my eyes, and whispered to the dark, "Even if I walk that aisle alone, I will still walk it. Because being unwanted doesn't make me unworthy." The wedding itself was beautiful in a way that almost felt cruel. The sky was clear, the pecan trees whispered in the breeze, and sunlight pooled across the polished wood floors of the old hill country hall. Ethan's parents, true to their word, walked me down the aisle together. Their arms were steady, their faces warm. For once, I didn't feel like a girl who'd been abandoned. I felt like a woman being escorted into a future she deserved. When I reached Ethan, his eyes softened. He whispered, "You made it." And I did. Despite everything, I made it. The ceremony was short, intentional. Ethan promised me ordinary magic, oil changes, groceries, bad TV nights that somehow feel holy. I promised to stop apologizing for existing in spaces I'd earned. People laughed, people cried, and for the first time all week, I exhaled. The reception was alive. His cousins spun each other on the dance floor, kids darted between tables, the air smelled of rosemary chicken and lilacs. I almost forgot about the empty chairs that had haunted me for months, almost. Then came the cake, a 3-tiered masterpiece, white buttercream with hand-piped vines curling up its sides. The DJ called us over, cameras raised, guests gathering close. Ethan placed his hand over mine on the knife. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready," I whispered. We pressed the blade into the cake, applause swelling, laughter, flashes, cheers, but then buzz against my hip. My phone, tucked deep into the hidden pocket of my dress, lit up like a siren. I ignored it. We cut again. Another buzz, and another. By the time we handed out the first slice, the phone felt like a heartbeat against my ribs, relentless. I pulled it out discreetly. 37 missed calls. From Mom, from Dad, from numbers I didn't save but knew were cousins, aunts. A text banner slid across the top. "Please answer. It's about Brooke." My stomach plunged. Ethan caught my look. "Not tonight," he murmured, squeezing my hand. But part of me, the part that had begged for scraps of love since childhood, couldn't look away. I slipped into the courtyard, string lights overhead swaying in the wind. My hands shook as I called back. Mom answered instantly. Her voice was raw, frantic. "Lena? Oh, thank God, we've been trying all night." I forced steel into my tone. "I was getting married, Mom. Remember? What could possibly be so urgent?" There was a ragged inhale, then words that detonated everything I thought I knew. "It's Brooke, her fiancé. He called off the engagement, right there in the middle of the party. He read messages aloud, the ones where you supposedly told us not to come to your wedding, said we embarrassed you, that you didn't want family there. Lena, he said she faked it. All of it. She used your name, your number. She tricked us. I sank onto a bench, the wood biting into the backs of my legs. She what? Dad's voice cut in, low and broken. She showed us screenshots, kiddo. Texts that looked like they were from you. Emails, too. She even intercepted your mailed invitation. We believed her. We thought you didn't want us there. We thought this was you punishing us. I laughed, bitter, the sound echoing under the pecan branches. Punishing you? I called. I left voicemails begging you to come. I've been tearing myself apart, thinking I wasn't worth showing up for. Mom's sobs came through the line. I know. Patrick confronted her tonight. Her fiancé. She broke down, admitted everything. Said she couldn't stand being in your shadow even now. She wanted all eyes on her, so she destroyed the story before it could be yours. My breath came shallow. The ground felt tilted, unreal. She didn't just ruin my wedding. She rewrote my entire family. Silence. Then Dad whispered, "We failed you. Not just tonight. For years. We let her spin the spotlight and we stood in the glow, blind to you. I'm so sorry." In the distance, the DJ announced the next dance. Guests clapped, oblivious. Inside the hall, my new family waited with open arms. Out here, the truth burned. I closed my eyes. "Where is Brooke now?" Mom sniffled. "She ran out after Patrick left. We don't know. We're worried about her, but—" "No," I said, steady for once. "You're worried about the wreckage she left. She did this on purpose. She took everything she knew I wanted, a family at my wedding, and she turned it into her stage." They were silent, maybe because it was true. "I can't do this right now," I said finally. "This is my wedding night. I'll see you tomorrow if you're ready to face me with the truth in person. Hotel lobby, 10 a.m. If you show, we'll talk. If not, consider it the last RSVP." Before they could answer, I ended the call. The air was cool, the night too quiet. I tucked the phone away, stood, and walked back inside. Ethan saw me, worry etched across his face. I leaned in and told him everything. Brooke's sabotage, the fake texts, the public breakup. His jaw tightened, then softened. "We'll face them tomorrow," he said. "But tonight is ours." He led me to the dance floor. The music rose. Guests clapped. And for the first time, the emptiness on my side of the aisle didn't crush me. Because the truth, ugly as it was, had set something free. Brooke hadn't won. She'd exposed herself. And me? I was finally done begging. 10:07 a.m. The next morning, I walked into the hotel lobby still wearing yesterday's eyeliner like battle paint. Ethan at my side, hand steady on mine. My parents were already there, slumped in armchairs like kids outside the principal's office. Mom clutched a wad of tissues. Dad stared at the patterned carpet as if it had answers. I didn't hug them. I didn't even sit right away. I let the silence stretch until Mom finally whispered, "You look beautiful. We saw the pictures online." I laughed, sharp. "You could have seen me in person." Her eyes filled. We were wrong, completely. We believed her because it was easier than facing how badly we'd treated you. If you had shut us out, part of us felt we deserved it. Dad cleared his throat. His voice was gravel. "I failed you, kiddo. I let Brooke's drama run our family. Every time she screamed, we jumped. Every time you achieved something, we nodded and moved on. When she told us you wanted no family at the wedding, we didn't even question it. That's on us. Not her. Us." The weight of decades pressed against my ribs. I wanted to scream, to cry, to collapse into their arms like the little girl I used to be. Instead, I said, steady, "You didn't just miss my wedding. You missed my life." And last night proved it wasn't an accident. It was a choice. Mom reached forward, stopped herself midway. We don't expect forgiveness, but we want to do better. We already called a therapist. We're starting sessions this week. Family therapy too, if you'll join. I held her gaze. Here are my terms. 1, you both go to therapy, individually, no matter what. 2, you stop outsourcing decisions to Brooke's feelings. She needs professional help, not parents cleaning up her mess. 3, if you want a relationship with me, it starts with action. No more apologies without receipts. They nodded quickly, desperate, like people at an altar call. Maybe this time they meant it. Maybe. Just then, Jenna appeared by the elevator. Eyes puffy, mascara smudged, hair pulled back like she hadn't slept. She walked toward me, wringing her hands. "Lena, please, I need to explain." I didn't move. She pulled out her phone, thrust it forward. Screenshots glowed. Fake texts Brooke had sent her, from me, saying I'd only asked her to be maid of honor out of pity, that I'd replaced her with someone else. I believed her, Jenna sobbed. "I thought I'd just embarrass you if I showed up. I should have called you. I should have known better. I'm so sorry." I stared at the bubbles on the screen, green lies that sounded almost like me but not quite. A stranger's script. "You didn't even ask me," I said quietly. "Not once. You believed the worst version of me without a question." Tears streaked down her cheeks. "I'll spend as long as it takes to earn it back. If you'll let me." I didn't forgive her. Not then. But I didn't slam the door shut either. "Start with time," I said. "Show up when there's no audience." Her shoulders sagged with relief, even as the distance between us stayed heavy. Later, back in our room, my phone buzzed. A message from Ava. "Tracked Brooke's burner account. Got logs. Everything saved if you need it legally. Also, please tell me you had leftover cake for breakfast." I laughed through the exhaustion. Chosen family. The ones who send you legal evidence and dessert advice in the same text. Brooke herself never showed up that morning. She sent a single line by text hours later. "You won." "Happy?" I typed back. "I didn't win. I healed. Try it." Then blocked the number, not her. Just the version of her that thrived on chaos. As Ethan zipped our suitcase for the honeymoon, he asked gently, "Do you regret telling them to meet you?" I looked at the closed door where my parents had stood minutes earlier. No, last night gave me clarity. This morning gave me boundaries. Both matter. He kissed my forehead. Boundaries are how love learns to behave. And for the first time in my life, I believed it. 6 months have passed since that night my phone lit up with 37 missed calls. Life looks different now. Ethan and I have settled into married life. Messy kitchens, long Sunday walks, and laughter echoing off apartment walls. Some days the memory of empty chairs still stings, but it doesn't define me anymore. My parents kept their word. Therapy isn't magic. It's more like turning a freight train with your bare hands, but at least it's moving. They call me now, not to ask about Brooke, but to ask about me. It feels strange sometimes to be the center of their sentences. Strange in a good way. Brooke, she's in counseling too. She mailed me a postcard once, a cactus on the front, the kind that blooms once a year if you're patient. On the back she wrote, "I'm not ready to face you yet, but I'm trying." I don't know if we'll ever be close, but maybe that's not the point. Jenna and I are talking again, small steps. Coffee once a month. No more confetti filters, no more excuses, just honesty, even when it's awkward. And then there's the biggest shift of all. I'm expecting a June baby. Ethan talks to the bump every night like it's already listening, promising bedtime stories and pancake breakfasts. Sometimes I press my hand over my stomach and whisper my own promise. You will never wonder if you're enough. You will never have to earn a seat that already has your name on it. Here's what I've learned. Families aren't guaranteed. They're built, choice by choice. Forgiveness isn't a single moment. It's a process with setbacks and restarts. And worth? Worth is not something anyone else can RSVP to. If you've ever been betrayed by the people who should have been your safe place, hear me. Being unwanted does not make you unworthy. Storms come. Families fracture. But sometimes, when the dust settles, you find yourself sturdier than you ever imagined. Because healing isn't about erasing scars. It's about wearing them like proof that you survived and you're still here, standing, loving, becoming.